first before we start asking questions because I already asked
Wait,
people.
wait, hold on. Let me make sure we got it up and running. All right.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a good Christmas with your friends, your family, your loved ones. I know this year was a difficult year because of COVID, but it's beside. And this is the last show. This is the last Claus and Clem show of the year. By the way, my name is Clement Okufo. My partner in crime is Claus Webbs from the Parts Unknown.
That's
Today tonight we have two special guests. Hopefully,
two.
two. We have two special guests, and you know both of them because they're both in the fetish industry. They're also in the catfight industry. They're both Queen Gia Love and Tilly McReese. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and do my catfight list quick, and then we get right to the guests because we know y'all got questions. The fans got a lot of questions to ask. We have ours too, but it's about y'all, not about us. So with that being said, my top 10 catfight list. I gave you a tease last week, Claus, when I told you it wasn't who you think it is. Number one on my list, Gia Love versus Valor Catfights is number one on the list.
Okay.
Number two is Lil Rampage versus Sexy Wife.
Okay.
Number three, oh sorry, my bad. I had it all backwards. It's number two is supposed to be Lyric versus Valor.
Mm.
That's number two. Number three is the one that's Lil Rampage versus Sexy Wife. I'm sorry to confuse the viewers, but that's the first three. Number four, Davina versus Lyric Lane, the rematch. As you said, I was the prisoner of the moment. As Claus said some time ago, when he was right, I was the prisoner of the moment. I had time to think. So that's number four. Number five, Paris versus Sexy Wife. So there's number five. Number six, Gia Love versus Sexy Wife. So Gia's three fights are on my in my top six. So what does that say? So what does that say? I have to tell you. So what does that tell you? So number seven, Alexa Brooke versus Paris Love. We all know that one. Bay fight. So that one. And then Alexa Brooke makes a list. Her fight versus Jess on Sweet Fights. Everybody who's seen that one. And then of course Gia versus Tilly. The breakout party Gia Love. That fight. And then the last one is Davina. Well, I guess I probably should not. I have Davina versus Dulce, but I might have to change that and just go ahead and put uh Ivy Shore versus Bella number 10. I'm gonna switch that around because that one was at least a competitive match. The other one I was talking about was a beatdown. So that's honorable mention. And yeah, that's it. And Dulce versus Lyric was honorable mention also. If you have
Okay.
any, yeah, so that's my list. I have 10, but I added two more to make it 12. Thoughts?
Hey, if that sounds like a good list, that sounds like a good list. A list I can't really dispute or anything like that. Yeah, man, it's been a good year, even though we have COVID, and some people may argue that well, COVID kept down the number of fighters or exactly when in the year they took place.
Hmm.
But I just think that overall, I just think that it was a good year because I think COVID kind of opened up a way where you had people who normally wouldn't have gotten into the fight game got into it because it was like, look, for some of them, they were like, look, we need some kind of way to try to earn some income and stuff like that. So maybe expose some ladies to the business that just normally would not have done it. And I think that competition has helped made it better. But I can't remember a a time where it was the industry was in this much of a good place.
Hmm.
I did see a post from a fellow producer at a blog that I follow. Excuse me.
Okay.
That asked the question about, and they're wondering, is there now more people? I mean, is there now more people and more companies that's in the fight game than customers? And I think it's a very valid question
Hmm.
because, to me, the two lifebloods of the industry and its balance is the fans and the ladies, the fighters, the combatants. And if you're short one than the other, then your going is not going to go well because if you have fewer fighters and more fans, then um yeah. So well, I guess I see our special guest look like she ready to jump on.
Without further ado, Claus Webb, I leave it to you. I leave it to you,
Well,
my
I
guy.
guess she popped back off, but I guess we'll come back to her when
Okay,
she's ready.
I got one more update.
Okay.
I got one more update. On Saturday, uh, was the debut of a cat fight that everybody knows that was going to happen January 1st. The two combatants, or as you call them, the two fighters ended up being on a podcast show by my guy Mike Jolly called the Washington Wrestle Talk. So they were on there
Okay.
on Saturday. You might have to check out the man's website because they were on there. We were asking them questions about you know the fight, what they would do outside, I mean, what they do when they're not in the fight, and everything else. So they're promoting it pretty good that fight. So
Okay.
I think the price is $35. You have to contact Sexy Husband for that.
Okay.
So that's all I got on that. That's pretty much it. I'll leave it to you, Claus. Well, when she comes back, I'll leave it to you
Yeah,
because there's a lot
well,
to say.
she's actually back. Oh, she just stepped right up. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Yeah, so it looks like she's back. What we're going to do is we're going to take a small break and we're going to see if she's ready. All right. Let's
Yep.
take a small break. We'll be right. Okay, she's almost ready. Almost ready. It's like when you cook a pizza in the oven and then you realize, eh, it needs another 2 minutes. Okay, it needs another 2 minutes. I do know that before she gets on, we have um a couple of fights that's going to be coming down the pipe, hot and
Yep.
heavy, coming into the New Year's.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so it's coming in hot and heavy. I'm like, wow, like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then I know on the 18th, I think she's going to talk about her fight then.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, so it's looking like, man,
See,
is
that's also news. And when Tilly comes on, I'll let her talk about it. It seems like there might be a fourth fight coming, but it,
really.
maybe not January. But I'll let Tilly say it
Oh,
because
okay. I'm
this is
about to
her
say,
thing.
God,
I'm
no,
not going
I'm
to
like,
spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's some news.
the
I'll
fact
let her
that
say
you
it.
just saying that is just alone that's enough of a spoil. I'm like, oh, I'm
It's
not
not
gonna
too
tell
much.
you,
It's
but
not
I'm
too
not
much of a
gonna tell you.
spoiler. It's not a spoiler because I'm not saying their names. If I said their names, it'd be worse. But I'm not going to. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay,
Oh
well,
yeah, by the way, when Gia comes back on, her friend Lady Oyanka, if you know who she has questions for her that she put to me. So I'm
yes.
gonna go ahead and ask her. I don't think I have any questions. You have more. You might have more questions than I
Well, I
have.
mean,
But
we got our standard list that we have for all
yep.
our guests.
But Lady Oyanka got 3 questions for her,
Yeah, so we
and
can ask.
I've looked at them, and these are impressive questions by Lady Oyanka.
Yeah,
She's very
and I know with Gia has been one. Gia would have to be my if I had to use anybody a wrestling analogy, like anybody in the wrestling business, I would use Bret the Hitman Hart
Yep.
because Bret the Hitman Hart was a fighting champion. Like his whole deal was every time I'm on TV, the belt is up for grabs. Like the
Yep.
TV champion, like he was not afraid, didn't run from anybody, didn't duck from anybody, called people out, would go
Right.
beat up with folks like and then just go crash them. Like, hey, I'm here to fight. And then, you got these folks that talk about fighting, and I'm like, they ain't about
Right.
that life.
Right.
No, Gia
Yep.
is about that life,
Yeah,
But
about that life.
but the thing
Yes,
I
he
like
is.
about Gia can do the whole gamut, from scripted to unscripted, everything in the middle. And I think she's been a breath of fresh air, and that's part of the reason why she's been on our grade 8 list is because of the fact of the matter is she part of your best ability is your availability,
Yep.
and so yeah, so I'm trying to see. Let me peep in right quick. Let's see, is she almost ready? It means
Yes.
she's almost ready. Okay. She's getting the earphones. Okay, we'll come
Yep.
back to her. She's getting the earphones and stuff ready
Yep.
because she's
Yeah.
probably just looking like, look, I got till 10 o'clock, the top of the hour. That's what time they bringing me on. So, but but yeah, that's one of those things, man, that I truly admire about G is the fact that her ability of showing up and being there, you know, answering the bell pretty much every time.
Yep.
Every time she's been asked to ring the bell. So let me see if she's in. Okay, let's see. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes, hello. Can you hear us?
I can.
All
Yes.
right.
Okay, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to bring on to the show. It seems like she's ready. Queen GLL. Let's get her a great parts unknown. Welcome to the Clem and Claw Show.
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes,
Let's
yes.
make sure we call her Queen. We all know she don't like being called Gia, so let's just call her Queen.
Yes,
You're
Queen
right.
Queen G. Yes, we must
Okay.
pay tribute.
Queen Gia, love your friend, your good friend, Lady Oyanka, has questions for you. The
Oh, we talk often. We're actually planning on getting together soon since I have tentative plans for New York, but now I'm getting things on the book, so it looks more and more like that's going to happen.
ah. Okay, her first question is what got you into fetish, dom, adult, and fighting industry? That's her first question.
Ooh, I think it all started with costuming. Like I did the cosplay, costuming. I think the first one I ever did was an anime called Elfen Lied. And then after that, I did a Sakura. And I was approached by Cosplay Deviants. And they're like a artistic nude pinup cosplay site. So that was my first into nude. And then I was like, well, it looks like I could be making more money from this. So try to do more nude stuff, then came across like webcamming, and then the webcamming led to fetish and bondage, which is like, kind of where you go when people talk about fetish, bondage, feet, whatever. So got into that, and that just like opened up a whole new thing, going to the fetish con, meeting the people there, getting hired by different producers to do all kinds of fetish things that you do. I still, to this day, I've been doing this for probably almost 7 years now, and to this day I still get asked to do scenes that I'm just like, people are into that, really? Okay. All right, so then that's my turn to go in there, study, figure out what it is about this fetish that people like, and try to get the client to describe exactly what they do like, because there's no one size fits all mold. So that's like probably one of the most fun things about what I do for work is that I'm given this task and it's like, go, and it's like, okay, kind of like a test every time.
Question number two she has is which out of all of them do you enjoy the most? That's her second question.
the fighting the fighting, hands down. The cat fights, uh the wrestling, all that is just kind of like really taken off for me. And I think it's because I enjoy it, and my fans know that I enjoy it, so they like watching me enjoy myself, and I like enjoying myself and getting paid. I mean, who doesn't? Who wouldn't want to get paid doing the thing they
It's
love? I mean,
where the
that's
money
the dream, right?
resides.
That's the dream.
Yeah,
Last, yeah, go
it's
ahead.
where the money resides.
Her last question is an interesting question. I think you've been asked this before, but who knows? She says, "Who would you like to have an actual competitive cat fight with that you haven't fought yet?"
Um, Someone that's not in the cat fight circuit.
Uh, I don't know if she said that, but I'm just going by what she said.
Well, it's like I'm gonna eventually go through like people that I can't cat fight or at all. Probably Selena De Laurenta, one of the pro wrestler girls that I work with. I'd
Mhm.
love to get her hair in my hands.
Oh my! All right,
You-
Claus, go ahead.
yeah.
Answer her
Well, I
question.
mean, is there anybody like I guess you think that may be a viable option maybe within the next year or so, or somebody that you kind of think
Alexa Brooke.
Alexa Brooks?
Um, I know that Carrie Spectrum's on the list, Sarah Brooks on the list, but these
Hmm.
are like like these girls are top competitors. Like I just
Hmm.
started, like I want to do this for a while.
I
Not
love
like
it.
anyone's trying to maim anyone like permanently. Lots of like
Mm.
superficial, scratches on the titties and the bits, and then hair being ripped out. That's all superficial and stuff. But the body still takes a beating. The same thing with pro wrestling, like fake or whatever, but these are still real stunts and people are still really putting their lives in danger, and wrestling is still technically the most dangerous sports that you can do. Like, yeah. Like, if
More,
you look
more,
into
more dangerous than MMA.
that, it's like, yeah, maybe it's like scripted, but people are actually dying out there.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it has to be something like we always say. Those that step into the ring, we honor and give them their flowers and stuff. Because I know like the guy, I forgot his real name, but I know Luke Harper. He went by
Yep,
Luke Harper in the
yep.
WWE. How he's
He
passed
died.
away, at the young age. I was like 41. I'm like that's our age. I'm like God,
Yeah.
dog.
Yep.
There was
And
another one that
so
died 41 not too long ago. I was all over my Twitter. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I said.
Oh my.
The spirit is willing, sometimes, but the flesh is
The
weak.
body can only do so much. And when you when you have this need to move, you just gotta.
Yeah, because we seen one of the things I always tend to notice is that it seems like most cat fighters, like if they're gonna do like the full on competitive, whatever, it seems like the most they have in their tank is like 3 years. Seems like anything past 3 years,
Hmm.
it's like it's either tapered off or
I mean, how often are they fighting though? Because I mean, I've technically been doing this for like at least 3 years, as far as the cat fighting goes.
yeah.
But not fighting regularly. I had my first fight with for Sarah Brooke Glamour Fights, and that was a long time ago. That was with Vanessa, and then I did my second fight with Vanessa, and now it's been more steady. But I started a while ago.
Hmm.
Just now hitting the run with hitting the
The strong.
going with it.
Yeah,
Maurice, we got your questions. Go ahead, Claus. I'll get to Maurice in a
one
minute.
of the things that, and it was kind of like something that I said before you got on, that I said if I had to liken you to a WWE wrestler or somebody that's out there, I use Bret the Hitman Hart
Yeah.
because you was like that fighting champion where it's like anytime the TV's on, like he was going to defend that TV title, like
Hmm.
anytime, every day, every week. And one of the reasons why you're in our great eight right now list of fighters is because of the fact of the matter is you have been there to answer the bell
Hmm.
every single time, and it's just that everybody can't do that, and you've even called out folks that are like, hey, you know, y'all talking about real fight, hey, come over here, let me jump in, hey, let me
I
come
want,
in, let me
like you
tag
said, it was
in,
like 3 years on average. I want to be able to do this so I'm trying to go about it as smart as possible.
right,
Not start right off the bat and be like, come get beat up by Lyric, or I mean, Sexy Wife is tough, man, and she's over
yeah,
here
Yep.
dominating right now, just kind of
Yep.
just killing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
she
And I
is,
was
Yeah.
like, I did well against her. Like
Yeah.
I
You
held
did.
my own.
You
Feel with
did.
like a little bit of training.
right, and then she
Okay.
said that she doesn't train, and I'm like,
I don't believe
woman,
her.
it's like
Woman,
I'm
come
sitting
on,
there looking
man.
You
like,
know
I'm
something.
like
You
you.
know she
She's
knows
it made
trained.
me,
something.
hey,
No
Not
hey,
letting
way.
us know is the thing.
yeah,
Right.
it
She
makes
she
me
has to
want
be
to do
trained.
the
Come on, man.
what's the Cassidy meme? The one where he looking like, or what a conceit like.
I forgot, man. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm
I can't
like,
think of
yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah,
I'm
she
sitting there
said. Yeah, she said that. We were like, me and Klaus, like, come on, man, please, please,
because
come on,
it's
man.
like
No, no, no.
I've always said that your biggest fights, being in this industry, your biggest jump is going from your first to your second.
Second, yep.
Because after the first one, you done got all the jitters out. You kind of know how this is gonna go, and now you more so think about your objective, what you have to do to win. Versus the first one, you just think about everything you want to. I mean, and even stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with the fight, like, oh, is my hair right, or my outfit, da 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 da. Do I look good on camera? All that. Whereas like the second one is like, all right, I'm ready to go. I done pulled up my hair. Let's go. You know.
She's like, it's down to business. Second fight, I know exactly what to do and go from there. Now I
Yeah.
have an idea
Yeah,
of
I just
how it
want to get
goes.
it done. I liked it when I did my fight with Tilly McReese because it was. She said 20 minutes straight through. I was like, I've never done it straight through, but that sounds good because if no one's tapping right away, then we're not cutting. We're just running right through it, and it was the fastest cat fight that I did. And I was like, okay, I kind of like that. I like the breaking it up, maybe like 4 or 5 minutes or 4 minutes, either way. But I like just going through it, just get it done. But not everyone's got the stamina.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maurice, for your question. I'm gonna go ahead and ask it so that And he basically says, does Gia like catfighting more than wrestling? That was his question.
That's tough. I like them both for different reasons. I like the flexibility and the creativity that I can do with the wrestling, and I like the competitiveness and like the fact that I feel more confident with my body and my abilities when I do the cat fighting. Like if I were in some kind of altercation, I know that hey, I could probably hold my own, and that's pretty cool. As far as the wrestling, it's more like hey, I can act my way out of something.
Yeah. Who would you say was your toughest opponent that you've
Yeah,
had to date?
yeah,
Cat fighting?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, likely. I
I think I
had a
know the
taste
answer.
of Sarah Brooke once, but that was not like a full-on cat fight.
Oh,
So I
okay.
would have to say Sexy Wife was probably definitely the toughest.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. It's not even close. I agree.
Okay. And you said you've been. I guess we can do this either cat fighting or wrestlers or just people you've been in the ring with. Who would you say is your top five? Your top five of people that you've been
People
in the
that I
ring
enjoy
with.
being in the ring with, like, are
Yeah.
easy to work with.
Or just your favorites that you know that on this day you just wake up with the extra pep in your stomach, like, oh, it's gonna be good today.
It's
I
basically
love
trying to
when they
basically.
do the
Yeah, go ahead.
mixed matches. When there's like a scripted mixed match with a guy, and it's like the ball bash matches are always my favorite. Just go in there and scramble the nuts. It's my personal favorite. The guys hate it. Like it's not real. They're all like low blow type things. And I was thinking if I started doing more pro wrestling stuff, that'd be like kind of what I do. Be like, I go for the jewels and just be like that kind of cunt. That would be super fun for me because I like playing the bad guy, but everyone puts me in the baby face because I got a cute, adorable, small face, and I'm like, damn it, I just want to be evil.
So you see yourself more as the heel than you do the face. So
I think being evil is more fun. I can do both, but I think being evil is way more fun.
so ladies and gentlemen, we have our special guest, Queen Gia Love, in the building here on the Clem and Claus show. My next question, I would say, if you could change anything about the world of catfighting or the
Wrestling,
industry or the
anything.
business, what would you change? Or if there's one or two things you would change, what would you change?
Uh well, I know more in the fighting side than I do on the producing side.
Mhm.
uh Better areas for fighting. We do not stay on those mats. You need like more space, and they have like a good setup when I fought with Tilly, but even then couldn't stay on the mats. Same thing with
Mhm.
Valor, couldn't stay on the mats.
Mhm.
That was obnoxious. We were rolling into the lights. It was a
Yep.
miracle we
Yep.
didn't knock any of them down.
So
So
bigger
like
match.
that out of the equation would be nice.
bigger mats.
Um, as for I prefer there not be hair pulling, but that's like quintessential, right?
Exactly.
I just it's not even like I just like my hair on my head, not off of it. And my God, did Tilly rip a bunch of hair on my head? I was like sitting there with this clump.
Hmm.
Why?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
What
if we could have less that, cool. But that's like not the point of a cat fight. But it's called a cat fight. But we don't do any scratching. So I'm like,
Hmm.
sounds like a hair pulling fight because they want the hair pulling, but they're like, no, no scratching.
Well, I know one of the things that I do with our ladies, we have what we call the Hollywood style. I have one lady who was a stunt woman in Hollywood, and she told me that's what we call it, the Hollywood style. She said what they'll do is like take their fingers, spread them out, and put it in their head, and they're just basically moving their head for
Mhm.
control, and they're
What
not
they do
trying
in
to.
wrestling, they do the hands like this,
Yeah,
and they put it like kind of like this, and then curl it like that, and then the person who's getting it will put their hand on top of the other hand, and then kind of like it'll make it look like they're being guided by like, oh no, let go, and
well,
you know, and
well,
and using their hand to guide them so they'll know which way they're going to.
yeah, because one,
I
because
mean, that's basically all that like pro wrestling is just stunts. That's all it is.
one of the things me and Clem have talked about, and Blake Daly, and London, and different ones, we've always talked about what actually constitutes a cat fight. And you have people that runs the whole gamut of what a cat fight is or what it
Hmm.
isn't. But pretty much the three things that we all pretty much agree on, it seems like hair pulling, at least open hand slaps. I know some people would do closed fists to the body,
Yeah.
some won't.
Yeah,
Um,
I
that's
usually
always
do
kind
head
of a
punches. No face punches though.
correct, correct,
Yeah.
Correct.
correct.
That's a no
Um,
for all of us.
Now you may do open hand slaps, but
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
definitely part of it. Slaps
yeah,
are so fucking part of it. I
yeah,
love it.
slaps. And then what was the third one, Clem? I
I
know,
can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know the first one was we agree on the first
I
one. What's the
trash
third one?
talking.
yeah, but it's almost like one of those things. If you don't have it in you, trying to talk trash when you're not a trash talker, it just comes off with lame. It
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
it does lame.
it's just lame. If you can't do it, that's like just leave it alone.
like I just
I
better.
would say probably usually when I think of a cat fight, I think of stripping of some sort
Me
because
too.
usually like you're trying to tear her clothes off.
Close off.
And is the thing that I always kind of hate is that, and I'll try to teach our ladies is like if you do it with the purpose. Like you're either trying to use it as a weapon or you're trying to use it to gain an advantage or something. Don't be stripping it just to be stripping it, and then y'all done
Yeah,
strip the clothes off the first 3 minutes, and then there's
nothing.
nothing else to work with the rest of the 17. It's like you done killed it. Like what?
I think they're taking the clothes off right away. Like you
Yeah,
gotta.
because
There's
they'll
some.
think of the objective is like, oh, okay, because in with some sponsors, they'll do a bonus where like, hey, if you strip the other girl nude during the match or topless or whatever, there'll be extra money. So what they'll do is they'll just go to that and then they'll realize, oh, wait a minute, I still got 15 more minutes. Now
Hmm.
what do I do? And it's you can see that usually with newbies, when
Yeah,
newbies that they trying to get into it and all that, and it's like,
yeah.
you
Oh
want
yeah,
to kind
they'll
of
rush right through it. They'll rush
work
through everything, and
right,
they're standing there like, oh fuck, I forgot what to do.
right.
It's like,
Exactly.
well, you didn't take your fucking time. But
Yeah, so breathe, and
well, there's also people like I guess being behind the camera or in front of the camera for so long, it lets
Mhm.
me think about that at the same time, but it's like not as important in a cat fight as far as pacing goes. Yes,
yeah.
Mhm.
but
You,
Endurance is number one. Oh yeah, no endurance for me in a cat fight is important. I don't. For me, I feel endurance is important because the longer the fight comes, you get more tired, so you have to think less and all that stuff. And you're trying to figure out what she's going to do, what your opponent's going to do, what you're going to do, and all this other stuff. Endurance is. I feel like some of these ladies they put out so much energy in the beginning
too
that
much,
too much
too much
energy,
energy in the beginning.
too much. Most of them. I'm not
Hmm.
saying
Well, it's because they don't know what they're doing.
right,
exactly. Too
and they
much
don't know how to
energy. So endurance is
pace them.
important.
One of the best fights I ever saw was, I think it was Cheyenne Jewel and Dragon Lily.
Yep,
It was one of their early. We bring it
we
matches,
bring it.
and all they had on was boy shorts. That's it.
Yeah,
and they just went at it 20 minutes straight. I'm trying to think. I think it was a 1-0 count.
yeah.
Um,
It was. It
and
was
it
for
was
nothing.
one of the best matches I was because the energy was up from start to finish, and everything was trying to each trying to get the other one to submit and all that. And it was just it was a roller coaster ride. And when it's more evenly matched, that's what the great one. Like I love your fight with Valor. One of the things is even with the attire that y'all had on, which was the regular, sports bra, bike shorts and stuff like that. And of course, the fact that you wear purple, purple is my color. That's why I was like, I always be partial because I'm
Oh,
like, yes,
she
you
loves
got the
purple. The
purple,
lady
yes,
loves purple. She's
yes.
different. Most girls like pink, so that's different.
Well, see, I'm
It's the
still in.
color of royalty.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
it is.
yes.
I'm a still in velvet guy. Like I said, I want everything that I do to be as strong as steel, but as soft as velvet. Be like
Mm,
that velvet hammer, like
I
bam.
love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Um, yeah, so it's one of those things, man. It's just trying to get the girls to understand the stamina, and then the hair pulling thing. You tell me, that's like the number one thing, especially with
Yep,
ladies of color.
yep,
Like the hair pulling. Oh Jesus, it's
yep.
like
Ladies of color, you start pulling their hair, they start spazzing out. So it ends up being a street fight, and that's how you get them. You
yeah,
psychologically
I
put
don't
them
like
right.
their hair being touched. Paris was telling me she don't like that shit. Like sexy
Of course
white
she
with
doesn't.
her hair, her
Yep,
like she had just gotten her hair done, and then
yep,
she ripped it right out.
yep.
yeah. We saw it on the fight.
We
We were
saw
like,
that.
ooh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing, and I told the story before. I said I had a fighter on my roster where she didn't want to. She was, I guess, because she had alopecia. I can't even pronounce it correct.
I guess they look.
With her hair, and so she didn't want her hair touched at all. And I told her, I said, okay, look, I'm fine with that. But I always believe, kind of like how in police you get sprayed with your own mace before you pass training. I said, at least in one fight, you should have one where your hair pulls so you don't spaz out, so you understand that that's one less thing that you have to worry about dealing with as a barrier. So she did a couple of training stuff, about 2 or 3 training sessions, and then she took some time off, life stuff that happens with everybody. Make a long story short, I happened to be on Facebook one day and I just hear this girl just like she looked like the second coming of Young Ma, but more stout. Like so anyway, she's dogging out, yeah, that's why I beat your ass and messing with my baby daddy and all this other stuff. And I'm like, whoa. So I sidebar, DM, I'm like, are you all right? And she was like, Sensei, she went, we got into a fight and she went and pulled my hair and she said, I completely blanked out. I forgot everything I was taught. I forgot all the training. I forgot everything. She just passed out. I said that. I said, oh, nah. She said, I want to come back. I want to finish because it's like one of those things, and it's like to me, I think some people overdo hair pulling because you don't want to be where. Like I had one lady that wanted to fight for us, but all she wanted to do was hair pull. She didn't want to learn the moves. She didn't want to do nothing. All she wanted to do is pull another girl's hair, have her pull her hair, and see who had the tougher scalp. That's it. That's
That's
all she
that.
wanted.
Yeah. If you want to annoy fans, that will do it. If it becomes a hair pulling cat fight, I'm already out. I'm not all about hair pulling cat fight. I want to see skills
Now, if
in
you
cat
want to
fights. That's
use
what I
it
want to see.
to as an advantage to gain control, to put
Sure.
it in another lock and hold,
Control
okay, fair game.
fine. Control hair
But
pulling fine. But
just to
but
be pulling it.
honestly, hair pulling, nah, man. That's stuff. Us fans, that's how you annoy us right there. If you want to get annoy us, have a straight hair pulling cat fight, man. Nah, man.
Yeah,
Nah. We. That's
You
one
gotta have
way.
variety. It gets boring otherwise.
yeah,
Yeah,
If
it
the
is
first
boring.
2 minutes is the rest of the whole damn fight.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is the strangest fetish that you since you talked about the fetish? What's the strangest one that you've been asked to
Well,
do and you're like,
that's like subjective. I don't kink shame at all.
what?
Which one that I think was kind of out there? The one that comes to mind, and I'm sure I've done weirder, where they wanted me to masturbate with a shoe, and I'm like,
A
oh,
heel?
like
The
a
shoe?
sneaker.
Like
So just
a,
like
Oh,
a
okay.
clean pair of sneakers, and just like rub it down there until things happen. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, ah,
Okay.
yes.
money.
Okay.
Okay. Well, who's been your toughest male opponent? I mean, in mixed wrestling. I think I know Hans is in here, but who else? I'm just going to go straight up and say one
Who's
toughest
that?
opponent when it comes to mixed wrestling. Who has given you the most? Who has given you a challenge? Let me put it this way.
Who? Okay. So like competitively
Yes,
mixed
competitively.
wrestling, I've done mostly like in private sessions.
Yep.
And there is a client that I have in that I don't know where. Better I don't say. But I have a client
Oh,
who
so no,
prefers that I do competitive sessions, and he's a bigger guy, and I guess he's fought before or something, but he wants to like fight me for real. And every time I'm like, dude, you're going like a little too hard. Let's try not to hurt me. Because he got me in a headlock, and my head was like right here, not so much my neck, but my head was in his arm, and he squeezed it so much. I was like, I felt like my head was gonna pop. I was like, settle down, dude. Like we can do competitive, but don't kill me. Like
right.
let's not do anything,
This
fake
ain't a video
or
game.
permanent here.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of women have said that. That's why they don't do competitive because their men are too aggressive. Try to do too
The
much sometimes.
testosterone kicks
Too much
in.
testosterone
Like
kicks in.
he's the only one that I've ever had. Otherwise, I've had no issues with the men. Usually, I'm quicker, and if I can get them in a chokehold or in some kind of body or head scissor, like they're fucked.
Oh wow.
That leads me. I'm gonna go ahead into wrestling. All right, so give me your favorite. Uh, I ain't gonna say five because everybody got five different submission holds they like. Give me your three that you like to use in your matches. It doesn't matter, male, female, don't matter. What submissions do
Just
you
the
like to
ones
use?
that work the best. Keep it lower body. A leg scissors, head scissors, body scissors, chokes,
By the
slaps.
way, I'm a Scissors fan. I'm a Scissors fan. That's my thing. I just got to throw it out there since we're
Yeah,
talking about it.
yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. Now, do you have any questions for us, like, or something you ever
Yeah, do
want
you have
to
any?
ask a fan or the fellow producer or
By the way, Maurice, yes, we do know about Dragon Lily. Yeah, she was a boss. We know, Maurice.
I'm not familiar with Dragon Lilies. Tell me more about her.
Dragon Lily? Oh my god! Oh, one
uh,
of the legends. She's
oh, yeah,
on.
she a legend.
Yeah, she's on We Bring It. Her, Cheyenne, Jewel. They all based out of Vegas.
Ariel X,
Yeah, I know
Yes.
all
Ariel
Dragon
X, all of
Jewel.
them. Those
Yeah.
are the main people. Bella Rossi, all of them. There's like
Bella
four or five.
Rossi.
There's like four or five main people there.
Ariel X part? No, not Ariel X isn't part of that group. She just has the Evolve
Yeah,
fights, right?
yeah,
She
yeah.
just,
She
yeah.
yeah, she has the evolved fight, so she's not really part of that group.
Okay. But there's somebody else that I'm thinking of that's also part of that group. Um, you have Bella Rossi, Dragon Lily, uh, Joylyn. You have Joylyn.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
Joylyn that's in it. Yeah, so there's a bunch of ladies out in Vegas.
yep.
Yeah, they've been doing this. I've been as a fan or
Oh,
in
Tomoko. That's the other one. Tomoko. I forgot about her.
oh
Oh,
Tomoko.
Tomoko.
yeah.
Yes,
She
Finally
too.
got a chance to meet
She
her.
also.
She's amazing.
yes,
Yes,
Tomoko is definitely
her
amazing.
also.
She's
Yes,
Wonder
so
Woman incarnate.
yes, I know there's been some people like Nadej, who's going on,
God bless
Beatrice
her soul.
Golfin, Helen Von Mott, some of the other legends. And then when you get
Chrissy Elso, and so on.
international, you got Eva and you got Sativa Miss, you have Ivy
Yep,
Saturday, you have Amethyst, Hammerfist. Is
yep.
there anybody international that you would love to
And
um
then you got Pamela and Bianca too, the new ladies in that group. They're also international. So yep.
yeah. Yeah, is there
Uh,
any
I actually did some wrestling over in England for APL videos. Who
okay.
was
Yep,
running it? I forgot who was running it, but I fought a girl named Jade, and she was like the top UK girl
yep.
or something at the time, or it was more wrestling than it was like this. It was a scripted thing, but she was kind of fighting for real. It's like one of those girls. It's like it's still
Yep.
scripted, but they want to like let you know that they could kick your ass for real. I'm like, okay, sure.
Quinn Gia got a lesson. Quinn Gia got a lesson. The girls in Europe do not play. You found that out when you were over
Yes.
there.
Sometimes they do,
They take that
sometimes
so
they don't.
serious.
I want a little push. I've worked with a few of those pro wrestler girls, and I guess they're scared to hit me. And I'm like, do you not know what I do? Like it's very hard for me to sell a move if I don't know you're hitting me. Like at least tap me, give me like something so I know that I'm gotta react to something. But if they're just like, watch me kick the air right before your skin, like come on, man, just give me a little. Give
I
me a
think
little
there's like two or three top European wrestling groups. I think it was London Wrestling Studio, and then of course Wrestle Monica. Everybody knows you. If you're not
Monica the
you,
legend.
yeah, Monica is a legend. You have to wrestle for it. That's when you get. That's when you know you're going to be a legend because she gets a lot of good ladies in that group. A lot of them.
And I would say
Everyone
for
there.
mixed wrestling, I would love to see her versus Hans. Have you fought
Yeah, me too. Yes,
I
I
know
remember
of
Hans?
Hans.
I've
Yeah,
seen like in Europe, right?
no, Hans is out of New York
Hans is
City.
in New York City.
He's in with
Oh,
Doom Maidens and Vivi Lane
Yep,
and there, over there in those areas in that neck
Vivi
of the
Lane,
woods
legend. That's a
in New
legend
York.
right there. Vivi
You
Viva
Lane,
Lane's
have
legend.
to,
number one, even
if
if it's
you are serious
he'll let
about
you
mixed
know.
wrestling, you have to wrestle Hans. Hans is
Yep,
like the gatekeeper of mixed wrestling.
wrestling.
You know,
Yes,
it's
he is.
like if you are that, if you and Hans is like having Hans is like the golden stamp, the golden ticket. You know, it's like I'm telling
Yeah,
you, that's he's that dude. He's that
he is
dude.
that dude. He is
He,
that.
What's his Twitter? I gotta find him.
matter of fact, he was one of our guests. What was it? The second episode we did. Matter of fact,
Yeah, second episode.
I
Yeah,
have it right
second.
here. It's right there. And
Ah,
Hans
Yeah,
Vanderkiel.
Van,
Hans van der Kiel.
Hans
Van der-
Vanderkiel. And tell him I sent you. Tell him guys I sent you. And
Exactly.
yes, yes.
Exactly.
What's the toughest thing from a producing standpoint? We only got a few more questions before we wrap up. We thank you for your time. What is the
Thank
toughest
you.
thing you had to learn as a producer?
Oh, go
Oh my
first.
god, everything. I had to learn how to do the camera. I had to learn how to do lighting. I had to learn how to direct. I had to learn how to come up with content, upload, edit, a whole bunch of things that I was
Distribution.
never taught in school. So thank you, school, for wasting my fucking time.
Yeah.
Made more money outside of school than I didn't learn anything. Didn't learn shit.
Yeah.
Nothing that helps me at all. I learned on the fly, got lights going, set a studio design, like none of that. Didn't learn any of it in school. Just on my feet. And it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. Didn't think I'd ever become a content creator, and yeah, here I am.
I've always said when a fighter make that shift to the production side, they see how deep that reservoir, that well can be, and it's like, oh my god, because sometimes it can be, intimidating. It can be intimidating, pretty much, because you know what you know, and then it's like, okay, but there's so many of these other things I don't know, and so
Yeah, that's like
often
when I get asked, what do you do for work? I'm like, oh, geez, well, which hat am I wearing? I got so many hats. Like, which one am I wearing today?
as I like to tell people, I'm a multimedia specialist.
Yeah, that's what I
So
started telling you. I'll say media content creator or content creator because everyone's a content creator now.
yeah,
Or
Yep.
I've been saying media content production and distribution, but it was like then they'll start asking questions.
I
I
know
don't
one thing.
want
I,
people
I
asking
know what. Okay.
questions. Content creator. I make little videos like TikTok or whatever.
yeah.
I'm as a fan man. I'm learning more and more hanging out with you guys, and now I'm starting to understand how much stuff that you guys have to actually put up. Not only with the cameras and the apertures and changing locations and hotels and pays and flying people
Finding
in and
hotels that
everything
have enough
else.
space
Crazy.
for the mats and
Yep.
have enough room for the lights. Which
Yep.
lights travel well, which lights don't.
There you
There's
go.
there's so much,
Especially if you're getting on
so
the
much to
plane.
consider.
You find out real quick about them lithium batteries. Okay, I gotta take them out. And
I
keep
am learning. See, I am learning with you guys. As I get with y'all, I am learning. So
because
now,
in real life, my real job, this is what I do all day. So
ah,
that's why I'm making open to any producer or whatever, whether it's cameras, whether it's lighting. Because sometimes with some of the makers, I'll get a demo and be like, okay, I got a demo for 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'll be like, hey, I got this. That's how I got Hans. That's how I got Hans hooked on these bad boys on the
mhm,
Osmos. I was like,
yeah,
because
you
I got
nailed it.
like right now, I got like four of them sitting right here.
Uh,
So
You
so
about
it
to get a
was
deal hook on it too in a minute.
yeah. So it was like one of those things that I was like, Hans, hey, you got to try this. And he was like, oh, Paul, this is the greatest thing ever. Yeah, so it's just things like that because sometimes they'll give me as a demo. I'll try it in the fight. Or if you're somewhere close enough, I may bring one to a fight. Hey, shoot on. And especially on some of this stuff on super slow, I would have killed your match versus Valor. I would have killed to have that in super slow mo.
Mm.
I
Ooh.
would have killed because the way y'all moved on that, I would have been like, if I could have shot it with one of these, oh, I was. I'm like, let me just run second camera. Also
I
the
know
jit,
three of your six. Yeah, in three of your matches.
yes, of his five greatest for the year.
Ooh. Thank
10.
you.
Yes, but
And
it
yeah,
goes back to
yeah,
what we were saying that you being available time
yep,
in, time out,
yep.
whosoever will, come roll through. Either you came up
I'm
there or
trying to
you
make
they
it
came
work.
down
If
to
if
Tampa.
the demand is there, someone approaches me, wants to do a fight. Chica, Shakira approached me. She wants to do a fight, and we had to like
Yep.
work out details. Turns out that she's done like wrestling, like real wrestling or some pro wrestling. I don't know a whole lot about her, but if like the demand is there, sure. She's got me on height and weight, so
Yep.
that's a little
Yeah,
intimidating.
Yes. She's a tall woman. I've seen her. She is.
yeah.
By the way, she was in the ECNWC at one point. So yes, that's why you don't know about
That's
her.
pro wrestling stuff, right?
Mm-mm.
Negative.
No, no.
No.
It was
Ah,
like with Lyric and
It's
Tilly
what
and
Lyric and Tilly and all these
Valor,
other people.
yeah, and that
This is what.
that level.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not pro wrestling. No. 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 No.
No,
ah,
no, 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 no,
Tilly
no.
and Valor, girls have fun.
Yeah, so girls they gonna throw hands for real.
Oh,
Okay.
They can throw
All
hands.
right.
throw
So
hands.
so tell the people your social medias
I'm gonna make sure
stuff.
I spell this right.
Yeah, Queen Gia Love. QueenGiaLove.com. Everything is on
Okay,
there. Just go to
okay,
QueenGiaLove.com. And
okay.
then my Snapchat, my Instagram, my OnlyFans, all of that. All of it is on there. QueenGiaLove.com. Very easy to remember, very easy to
Yeah,
spell. You can't fuck it up. There's only one way to spell Gia. That's why I picked that name.
I got one last question. I think we said this already, but who do you want to fight next year? We already know that you're gonna fight
I'm gonna
Abby.
I'm gonna be fighting Sexy Wife again. We're gonna do an anniversary fight. So we're gonna revisit
Oh,
that. People are excited. They're very
ladies and gentlemen,
excited.
save your money. Save your money. That one's gonna be
That
that's gonna
one's
be
gonna
great.
be
That's gonna be hot.
now, correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't you fighting on the 18th as well of January?
yes,
Yes,
I
yes. Please
I am.
plug that
Yes.
match.
that's with Abby, and I believe that
Okay.
Abby was Sexy Wife's first fight.
First fight. Okay.
She approached I think she approached Sexy Husband and asked him about a fight, and he said that Sexy Wife just had a fight, so
Mhm.
that he sent her my way, and I was like, yeah, we can. I'll drum up, see what people want, see if people want this fight. I've got a few people that are sponsoring, so yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting excited about it.
Y'all gonna make me want to half move to South Florida just.
There you
It
go.
don't happen
Everybody,
here.
all it's like all
Wild
the
in
cat fighters. It's
Florida.
like all the cat fighters in
I want
Florida.
to
We
fight
got
right
Gia.
here,
We got
right
what you got?
here.
We got Gia. We got Paris. We got Sexy Wife. We got Davina. We got who else is in South Florida over there? April
Sarah
Hunter.
Brooke.
Who else? Sarah Brooke. Who? She, my goodness, South Florida cat fighters. Oh
now,
my
now,
goodness.
Mhm.
I will say this: I have a base of operations in Orlando that I go to twice a year. I go to Orlando twice a year, and I go to Miami once a year. So maybe now, and I got family. I got family that's in Tampa, but I don't know if I'm gonna get to see them. I want to go to Siesta Key Beach. I do want. That's on my bucket list. I want to go to Siesta Key. So, but maybe one of
Yep,
these
Okay.
Little
days we can
Rampage is
come.
also in Tampa.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot Lil Rampage. Yes, Maurice. I forgot about her too. I knew I left out somebody.
Oh, she's in Tampa too. Oh,
Yes, she is. Yes, she
Mhm.
is.
Trying to
which
get my hands on her.
Oh
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Good luck with
What's
that.
the deal? By the way, what's the deal with that one? I know. I guess she's
She
recovering.
had an accident, and I think she's kind of like just laying low for a little bit right now. Like I haven't talked to her since then because then I booked up with Abby, and now it looks like I might be fighting Shakira in February. So depending on how that all goes, We'll see.
Mm.
We'll see.
Yeah, because you can have it where like literally almost one a month. I mean, it's gotten there's so many more girls that's in the business now. I think some of it had to do with COVID because
Yep.
I've been getting requests from girls that I normally would try or ladies I would try to approach and they'd be like, eh. But I think because of COVID, either their real life job is shut down or whatever, or they're just looking for other streams of income and they're like, oh
Yeah,
well, let me
most
go ahead and
everyone
try.
is like, I think more than 75% of people had to look for like some kind of other stream of income with the whole COVID thing. And they're like, yeah, I'll fight. What's going to be really good about because I don't know about Shakira, but Abby's, she does a lot of like the adult work stuff. So I was
Hmm.
thinking with her, she'd be more open to an ultimate surrender type fight where it gets like, yeah. So I think that people can look forward to something like that if that's because not a lot of the girls are willing to do stuff like that. And I'm like, that's a little something that I can offer because I'm down, Abby's down. We can make this a little more risque. Do like put that up as an option for sponsors. They want to see some, you know.
That kind of goes into something me and Clem always believe. We've always believed that there should be some sort of consequence or penalty or something
Yep.
for
Yep.
like losing because it's like the winner should be able to enjoy reap the benefits of some sort, whatever that
Agree.
be muscle worship, some people do like you said with strap-ons or whatever, and then some they do oval servitude, all kind of stuff, foot
Exactly. And I'm
worship.
like, we can take advantage of this because now a lot of girls are not willing to do it. And I'm like, well,
Especially outside of somewhere like Vegas or California, like outside of that area, it's like you not going
mm-mm. Yeah,
not east of
Miami,
not east
California,
of the
Vegas,
Mississippi.
those are
No,
areas you'll
no.
really find that. That's how I think that's actually where they have ultimate surrender. And that comes up every once in a while. Why aren't you in ultimate surrender? Why don't you do ultimate surrender? It's like, it's not that I don't want to do it, guys. Like, they haven't contacted me. And how about you tell them that you want to see me there? And I'll gladly go get talent tested and then, fuck some bitch. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. We about hit 10:30. So, yeah. So we like to thank everyone. I wish we had applause, but they won't let me. We hadn't gotten that far yet.
Yes,
Where they
everybody. We would like to thank the Queen, Queen Gia Love. Make sure you check out her next
and
fight against Abby Marie. I guess it might be Ultimate Surrender, and I know there's quite a few gentlemen that like that stuff. So, with that being
I like
said,
it. I want to have lots of fun, and you guys can make it happen.
yes,
yes,
she. You know what, Clem? She may be a possible candidate for my three stages of hell.
yes,
And
she
I've
is.
always wanted.
She is definitely a candidate for your three stages of hell.
The three
Yes,
stages of hell. I had to
yes,
talk to you off camera about that. 'Cause I want
yeah.
nothing else to
We'll
Yeah.
do
we'll
Now you got
here.
me my ears perking
We'll
up
talk
now.
to you off camera off of that. We'll
the
bring you
three
back for a
stages of hell.
sidebar. We'll bring you back for a sidebar. We can talk about that. We don't want
Yeah.
to scare the viewers. They're not ready for all that.
No, 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 no. They're not ready. They're
They're not
not
ready for that. We'll bring you in a sidebar. So, hang
ready.
around, chill. We have another
You
guest we
know
have to take
it.
care of.
Yes, because we got one more guest that actually popped up today, and so Tilly
Yep.
is going to join us in the
Now.
spectrum. Yeah,
Yep.
so whenever Tilly, we waiting for you out of the door. It's 10:30. She's supposed to come on. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, but Gia, what we can do is we'll just contact you back for the sidebar. We
Yep.
normally
All
do a
right,
sidebar
no
after.
problem. I got
Yes.
easy access to my Twitter. Pops right up. I'll see your name.
All righty.
All right then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Gia.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
All
Okay.
right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so we like to thank Gia Love for joining us. And
Yep.
so we're looking forward for our next one. I'm gonna tell her like you can come on in now, we waiting.
We're
Yes,
waiting now. She can come
yeah,
in now.
because
We're waiting.
she probably just hit it. She was like, oh my god, that's 3 yes. Yeah, so
Yes.
I know it's been a rough go of today, getting back into the country and all
Yep.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been difficult for her as of late. So we'll let her say that because we don't want to say anything more. We're just gonna give her
Yes.
a few minutes to come on, and then we'll
Yes.
have her do her thing.
Yes, but we
Great
we we
interview.
so glad to have Gio on. That was great. That was
That
great,
was
and
fantastic.
I'm stoked, man, to be able to talk and give folks their flowers. You know why they're here, man. And like you
Yeah,
said, we want all our fans and everyone. Maurice, who's put in some great comments and stuff like that.
fantastic
Everyone to
people.
be able to see a little bit behind the curtain
Yep.
and let folks know that, and just the inner workings to see ours, and so we don't tell it. Oh, I think that's her kicking in right now. Let's see, okay, yeah. So she's about
Okay.
to log in quick.
Yeah. Before we introduce her, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to write your caption in because you have
Oh,
your when
I
Gia
already
steps
got
in.
I did that pre when she came in for the test, so
All
I got
right.
her.
Yeah. Is she
But
ready? Is
um,
she ready yet?
yeah, she said she's okay, so she's about to log on. I just don't know if she's
Okay.
gonna do the computer. Or she's gonna do. Oh, I think that's her right there, ladies
Ladies
and.
and gentlemen, go ahead.
Well, I let you. I did the last one. You do
Okay,
the.
I'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, Miss, or as we used to call her, Miss Tenacious, Tilly McReese, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Welcome to
we
the
don't have an
Boss and
applause
Clement
button.
Show. And another part, welcome to the parts unknown. That's what we call this.
Yes.
Welcome,
Welcome
welcome.
to
Parts.
Parts Unknown. Did the show now? Oh, Tilly, we got
She
you.
froze? Uh,
Oh no. Oh, there she is.
oh,
Okay.
there she is. Okay,
All right, we
maybe,
got you back. Oh, she
maybe.
froze again.
She is freezing. That's not good. I thought it was my
Okay.
thing.
And well, she wasn't freezing earlier. So
I
okay.
don't know if that worked, but I was
First
pretending to be
question.
frozen.
Yes. First question. So how are you feeling after your long trip to Turkey?
Good. Really, really good. It was a weird time because all of the restaurants were closed, all of them. And the natives, or the locals, weren't allowed out after 8 p.m. during the week, and they weren't allowed out at all during the weekend.
Hmm.
So I was allowed to go out as a tourist after 8 p.m. So it was,
Hmm.
but like I didn't want to go out without my boyfriend. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of shitty to be like bye, like, and there was no restaurants anyway to go to. So, and it
Oh,
was deuces local, and it was like raining and dreary outside. But it was kind of nice in a way because we had to spend all the time inside by ourselves, and we got to know each other even better.
that's
Yeah.
a oh.
And then I
Well, a
spent
lot of yes. Go
and then I
ahead. Well,
spent $650 to get home because of a COVID test fuck up. I didn't get my results back in time to go through at the gate. So I had to say goodbye to that ticket. But these are the times we're living in.
hmm for
Oh,
our fans who don't know Miss Tilly McReese, her story is interesting. If you watched her last cap out against Jill, she said a lot of things and how she got into it, why she getting out of it. But for all the people who have not seen that video, because there might be some, go ahead and tell that story again, please.
Of how I got into it.
How you got into it and why you're getting out of it.
I was I heard whisperings of cat fights because I was an art model
Okay.
and a glamour model, and I had done some foot fetish shoots, like trampling and bondage, and some of the more mainstream. Although what's mainstream, I guess. And I had heard whisperings of it and was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I just felt in 2017, no 16, that I was ready to give it a shot. And I happened to be going to Dallas anyway, so I reached out to Steve from Sweet Fights, and I told him I'd be in Dallas, and he gave me the rundown of everything. And I was like, fuck it, I guess we're doing it then. So I fought against Mira Shiver. And I don't want to give away the result, but I guess everybody's seen it by now. I beat
Mhm.
her by a long shot. And it was a really good start. I definitely got off on the right foot. And I guess I should say now why I retired.
Mhm.
I just, like I said, I got into it on a whim. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say fighting is life. I've loved fighting since I was little. I've done taekwondo or karate or, you know, jujitsu. Like, none of that. Like, I just wanted to do it for fun. And it was a lot of fun. And I was able for it, as it turns out, which surprised me. But I was on a whim. And then I did 11 fights in like 2 years. And I was like, all right, I'm done. I did way more than I ever expected to. So, I had a good run. I'm out of here. At the end of the day, it does wear on your body.
Mhm.
And I don't feel disappointed in myself because like I said, I did so many after never expecting to really get into it at all.
yeah, yes.
Go
Because
ahead.
one of the things that I've always said is that how it seems like the average life of a cat fighter is like 3 years. It's
Yeah,
like you get 3 good years, regardless of how many fights you get in it. You get about 3 good years, and then that's
yeah.
it. You
That's
know.
really it, yeah. And it's physical, but I also stress that it's emotional and psychological because not that the fighting took a psychological toll on me, but catfight fans, man, y'all are fanatical. It's like next level shit. Like I'd never experienced it in my life until I got into catfighting. And to be honest, I love it. I love the energy. I love the passion. I love anybody with a passion, so it suits me down to the ground. But I'm also an art model. I'm also a glamour model. I'm also a bondage model. I'm fantasy girl. I'm everyone's girl online anyway. So
Mhm.
people used to talk to me like catfighting was my only thing, and I was like, no, dude. I got all this other stuff too. And speaking of which, I got to dedicate myself more to it. So let me just step out of here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we enjoyed you, for the short time that you was in it. But I know
Thank
you
you.
have moved over to the production side, and
Yeah.
kind of like our previous guest, Gia, I asked you, it's like, what's the biggest challenge that you face as being as a producer, being
Mhm.
on the production side
Oh
of it?
God, so many. Um, it's funny because I just talked about psychological stress, and there's more of that in production than anything. Um, it's you got to worry that the girl is going to show up. You got to worry that even if she says to you in messages online, "Yeah, I'm psyched, I'm pumped," you got to worry that she really mean any of that, or is she just thinking about the paycheck?
Yeah.
And I can't blame it. The thing about me is sometimes I'm too understanding because I can't blame anybody for wanting the money, especially right now. But I would also be really annoyed if somebody just don't lie to me. I'd almost prefer somebody say, "I'm just doing this for the money," by the way. I'd almost prefer that, than to be fooled. Mind you, I haven't had it happen. Touch wood. Um,
I got
so
one over here.
So I, we don't want to know about that. No, I'm just kidding. but
Uh-huh.
but that's a stress that we all have as producers. It's never happened. It hasn't happened. But that's one thing. Is their flight going to take off on time? Is the connection going to take off on time? Is their car
Mhm.
going to get hit by a deer?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Brooke. Poor Brooke.
you
Poor
know,
Brooke. Come
and then
on.
on fight day, even if things are going well, are we going to have to stop halfway through or quarter way through because somebody gets injured in a
Heard.
particular area, or because
Yep.
they realize they can't do there's so many
Yeah.
variables, and I have to make a living, but I also want to have a business long term. So I'm not going to do an idiot move like say, well, you paid. So, it's I'm very much like, what can I do for you as a sponsor? Like, I don't know if I can refund all of it because they came out here. I paid for their flights. I paid them. But let's half or let's arrange something, to where it's equitable for everybody. So it's
Mhm.
stressful for all of those reasons, not to mention the physical stress of hauling the equipment here and there and setting up and all that.
Mhm.
And then you don't get any glory. Being a
Definitely
model,
not.
No.
all
No.
the glory, but as a producer, no, nope.
No, no
No.
glory, no
Oh
glory.
no.
You're
And
a
that's one
workhorse.
of the things I find myself more and more. The more I do it, it's like how much energy it takes out of you. After a while, setting up all the mats and the lights and booking the room. Like sometimes you kind of wish on the producer end there was somebody else that you can like delegate some of the stuff to.
Yeah,
Like I rather if I just had someone like for me personally, because I deal with cameras and lights and stuff like that all day long. I rather do the shooting and the lights. Like right now,
yeah.
I got four of these bad boys, the Osmos. All the stabilizers, all of that. That's my
Second
cup of
camera, maybe.
yes. Second camera, yes, definitely second camera. I realize the value of a second camera, how much a second camera can definitely dramatically impact your production value.
Yeah, I noticed
It-
Sweet Fights was doing it lately. Some video I saw of his, and it looked great.
Yes, the second
Man.
camera, especially one of these bad boys for a second camera. I got Hans. Hans is already just hooked on one of these. I got him hooked on one of these just for his main camera. But
Mm.
especially for slow mo stuff, some of the stuff y'all did in slow. If I had one match of you in slow mo, But
I got some booty bouncing stuff in slow mo, but that's not real fighting; it's fantasy. But now you got me wondering.
yeah,
She
I would
got me
love to do
wondering
a
too.
slap.
I'm
I'd
just
love to do
saying.
a slap in slow mo, like to get the cheek. You know,
Yeah,
that whole thing.
Oh,
yeah. Oh
okay.
yeah.
Let me get my
Oh yeah.
mind out.
There's some stuff now we got. I'm telling
Yeah, yeah,
you,
exactly.
one day I want to come in and be like, look, there, just let us slap you as hard as you can.
All right, next question. Oh, okay. Let me think. Who were your toughest opponents?
I just
Well,
saw Morris T said something. Saw Talini mixed wrestling
oh,
clip, was impressed. Thank you, Morris. I didn't know that people could, that viewers could write their comments, so that's cool.
you know
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Ta-da! Yeah.
My toughest opponent.
Yeah, let me just break it down. Let's just start with wrestling first, because we know you love wrestling more. You like cat fighting, so let's just start with wrestling first, and then
Ooh.
branch out.
Mm, I know who it was. It was Kyla Reagan. Reagan, the artist formerly known as Kyla.
Yes.
Yes,
She she's just so quick, and she is. And a lot of people might be surprised, and they might think that I would have said Sarah.
yes.
Sarah's very good, obviously, and she's so measured. Her breathing, she's so zenned out when she fights, and it's very. You can't help but respect it. But Kyla is just, she's smaller than me, and you might think, well, not necessarily I got this in the bag, but I have an advantage because of size. But nope, she is, and she's relentless. She'll keep a hold on you, and she doesn't seem to tire. Or if she does, she doesn't show it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kyla is probably one of my all-time favorites. It actually
Me
is my
too.
all
Me too. She up
Yeah.
there.
actually is my all-time favorite. I'm a
Yep.
fellow Louisianian,
From the
from the
boot,
boots. The boots. The
the
boots.
boot.
The boot.
Yep.
If there's anything in the industry that you would change, what would you change? Or is there anything that's happened since the last time we talked to now, whether it's COVID based or non COVID based?
Mhm.
Um. Gee, I can't think. I wouldn't change anything. My experience has been very pleasant because fans have come to me in their droves and said, "Hey, that color clothing, I wouldn't recommend it. It's actually you. This and that is better." Or if you have said to me, "Hey," and Clem, you were one of them. "Hey, this should be a mandated break." Right in the middle of the fight, which I'm doing in
Yep.
this next one. So I can't, in terms of correspondence, communication between producers and fans, I think that we have a really, because catfighting is maybe one of the more niche fetishes, I think we have a really nice environment where there's a lot of back and forth between producers and fans. I don't know if it's other catfight producers, or if it's just me. I assume it's them too.
Mhm.
That I would not change. I love that. Um, I guess, and this isn't anything to do with the systems in place. This is just a personal thing that I picked up on tonight because Ashley and I were talking and she said it. I would just like to remind fans that, some fans think that if a girl is interviewed before a fight and she's asked, how are you going to treat her? How is she going to be after you're done with her and stuff? And if she says, we'll see, we will find out. I don't know much about her as a fighter, but we'll find out. A lot of fans, they hear that and they think there's not enough spite in that statement. She's just going to come in and half-ass it. She needs to really hate her. And I think maybe what they don't bear in mind is that's actually being very smart. And not to toot my own horn, but I used to do it. Kyla does it. Ashley just told me she does it. What they're doing, it's not that they don't want to go in there and give it, welly. It's that they don't want to look like a fool after the fact
Mhm.
if they lose. And they don't plan on losing. But it's
Mhm.
just that way of like ensuring that you're just like, oh, we'll see, and then you don't eat your words later on, sort of thing.
All competitors in sports don't say all stuff what you're saying. They always say, okay, respect the opponent, but I already know what I'm going to do. Such things. That just everybody who's competitors. That's just how it is when it's
That'll be a
sports.
good way to do it, yeah, to say what moves you plan on using. But I just would like to remind people that just because someone doesn't say, I'm going to fucking kick her ass, just because someone doesn't say that doesn't mean they're going to, go in and pussyfoot around her either.
I hate these kind of questions. Just watch the fight, people. They always say this. This kind of things that annoy me.
Yeah.
Just watch the fight. You'll see what kind of moves they're going to use.
Well, I mean,
For
I
me,
think there may be a way you can ask it, like maybe strategy. You know,
Yep.
because it's no different
Yep.
than, again, haven't been on the producer side from the standpoint of just real life sports. Like they'll ask the coach, you know, pregame, coach, what's your strategy for today? And you know,
Yep.
some coaches be coy. They'll be like, well, you know, we're gonna do what we do best. You know, we're gonna try to elect the chips all as they may. And then
Yep.
some people will actually tell you, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to run the ball, stop the run. And
Yep.
then for others, it's like, you know, like, you know, we'll see. We will just, you know, we football is meant to be played outside. Both teams have to play in this weather, and
Yep.
may the better team win. You know, it's like
Yep.
it's all different variations.
Yeah.
It's the same thing,
Hey.
but there's always a strategic way. I would
Yeah.
say even asking the question would be like, well, what would be your strategy if you have one? You can say, but some people they're like, look, I don't like to watch other people's fights. I
Yep.
just
A
want to
lot of
go
people say
in
that.
and
A
see
lot of them.
how it feels out to be in the first couple of minutes, and then
I've
we
learned
can
that.
adjust and go
I've
from
learned
there.
that these days. I
I
have learned that
understand that.
the fighters have done that. I have learned that.
So, something I realized about myself the other day, a little bit too late, is I much prefer, and I don't know if this is rare or not, but I much prefer to fight on carpet, maybe with like a blanket thrown down on it or something, than those shiny professional mats. Um, it used to frustrate me to no end that my limbs we get sweaty, of course, and you think that that would make you slip, but it actually makes them like kind of sticky. So you're on your back and you're trying to get someone off you, and then you have the added, challenge that when you kind of get them off you, your back is still like if you move your back to the side, it doesn't just on the mat. It sticks to it. Like they're very awkward. Like I would rather 100% rather get rug burn and fight on a carpet where I have a lot of traction than fight on one of those. But that's a personal. I mean, that's nothing to do with the catfight industry. That's just a personal observation I made.
That
I
that's
just be I'd be curious to see who else feels the same way.
Hmm.
that's very intriguing. You said that. I just now I know with using more of the shinier, I call it wrestling mats. I had some access to some of those, and it was like it just the grip wasn't there. So that's
Yeah.
kind of why we went to the puzzle tatami. But sometimes with the puzzle tatami, depending on what surface is on, is whether it will
Yeah.
hold too, you know,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
break completely
Yeah.
apart under pressure. So it was
Yeah.
always kind of like, And then the carpet, I knew the carpet burn. I'm like, that's out. But to do the blanket thing on the carpet,
Mhm.
that may be the best of both
And the
worlds.
blanket's gonna come up in places, but that's just hopefully by that point you're so engaged in the fight that the adrenaline keeps you going, and later on you're like, oh shit, I got a rug burn, you know.
Right, right. Um, Clem, you have another question?
No, does she have any questions for us? Because I don't have any. Does she have any questions for us?
Hmm.
Especially me, because I am her biggest supporter, as she puts it.
Let's see.
Or something you always want to ask a fan or a fellow producer or something?
Would you guys I'm gonna move my ring light because I just realized I have it in this stupid place. Okay, this is better. Would you guys change anything about how well, I guess actually first I should ask this. I don't watch other producers' catfights unless I want to see how a girl performs. And or if they're like, here, you should watch this. This is great. Watch it, you'll love it. But by and large, I don't watch them. And how different is my format from other
Much different.
producers?
Yours is
Really?
yours is way different because most producers, most of them do shorter fights. Yours is like straight 20 minutes. This is the rules. This is what is gonna happen. This is what I expect of you. So on. Some of them,
Okay.
it's just mm, some of them will be like 4 or 5 minute rounds. So yours is different because you listen to your fans more. Some of them,
Okay.
want to put their own thing sometimes. Not, I'm not knocking any producers, but
Right. No, no, no. It's the same with bondage and other things. It's like I know some bondage producers who are like, I've wanted to do this all my freaking life, and now that I'm doing it, I'm gonna inject some of my own style into it, more so maybe than the fans. That's really interesting. I guess would you?
I have a whole bunch. That's a loaded question for me. I would say you're. Whew, let's see. I would say you're in the upper echelon of producers that I've
agree,
seen of other stuff,
agree.
and but you don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
basically you're not trying to be Stanley Kubrick. You're not trying to be Quentin Tarantino. You're trying to shoot the fight. Now,
Yeah.
because the main thing is the fight. Now, I will say this. My big nitpick is stabilization.
Okay.
Because it's nothing worse than trying to shoot a fight and the fight is going good, but it's like I
It's
feel
like the Blair
effervescent.
Witch Project, like the
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
Now there's a realism like, okay, street fights or hood fights, you see world star and it's like you kind of it's like, okay, well, I gotta kind of balance for that. But it's like when we're trying to do something more professional, it's like, um, which is that's always been one of my things, which I would say, okay, but I understand stabilization, the rigs are not cheap. And usually in the hierarchy of list that a producer needs to get, whether it's cameras,
Mm.
lighting, stabilization, memory cards, batteries. Stabilization is usually towards the deeper end of the pool. And it's like,
Hmm.
okay, well, what else can I spend money on to make my
My
production better? Oh, let me get a stabilizer.
yeah,
Um,
my ex-boyfriend actually bought me a cage. Well, it's a rig, but it's kind of like a little cage that goes around the camera, and it's
okay.
got a handle, and it's really really cool because it has it's steel or metal, and it's got little grooves in it, so you can put in I call him a dead cat. Like you can put a microphone in there, or an additional light to sit on top of the camera, or even a follow focus or whatever. But I lost it. Well, I lost a part of it, and it was useless after I lost that part. So I'll get another one, maybe a different style too.
I would say your audio, I give you
Hmm.
definitely a lot of props on audio. As
Hmm.
somebody that's hearing deficient like myself, it's nothing more frustrating than listen to a pre-fight interview. You can't understand that they're thinking like, how you trying to
Exactly.
build it up.
Because
And
they're
you,
so
Exactly.
quiet.
yes, it's too
Yes.
quiet. And you can't
Too
hear,
Oh,
quiet, and we
or you
cannot hear
hear
you.
the person asking the question more so than you hear the person giving the answer. The person asking the question is usually right next to wherever the
the
camera is.
camera is, yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I'm trying to mic that. I'm not miking the girls and stuff. I always would love to hear that conversation more, but it's
Hmm.
kind of hard to do that when you got the air conditioning going and other
Hmm.
stuff,
Fridge.
breathing and all
Mhm.
that. Yeah, so there's other stuff going on in the room.
Yeah.
Um, but I think your framing is incredible. Your audio production work. I think your speed, your editing, I think is very underrated because a lot of
Very.
people that goes from fighting to going into the business, the editing usually leaves a lot to be desired. And I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my god,
Hmm.
like that.
That's cool. I enjoy it. It's a chance to be creative in an otherwise not really creative world.
Hmm.
So
It
that's
is hard to do because you don't know how to. This is not, now if it's a scripted fight, then you know, okay, I want to be here, here, here.
yeah.
When it's unscripted, you just don't know where people will roll around. You
No.
know,
Exactly.
And I have to take a moment to credit Adam because I shot the first 6 fights that I produced or so, and then I was started coming over here and renting their space. And since he's a fan of it, I was like, if you can take it if you want, because you know all the best angles too, and then that frees me up to
You
do.
picked the right person. You picked the right person. His
Mhm.
editing is very
and
good.
being and having that openness to do that is what I think elevated the production level because now it frees you up to do something else, which goes
Right.
Yep.
back to my thing of having somebody else. Because one of my mentors, Renee from Catfight Haven, she
Hmm.
has somebody else do some of the shooting, and it's like because whether it's somebody that helped you either manage the talent and manage the girls or whatever, or pick out the clothes or deal with the paperwork or help you with the filming or the setup and breakdown, something. Because trying to do everything by yourself, I'm telling
Hmm.
you, it's a
Hmm.
it's
You'll
a
forget
drain
something
and a strain. Yes, and you'll forget something because you'll be so involved into it, especially you trying to teach and show and
and be nurturing, because a lot of the time they come in and they're like,
I don't know what I'm doing.
what am I supposed to do? Can I do this? I forget if I can do that. What, we're not wearing any thongs, like, I had another question. I don't know if you're finished, but you can.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, at one point, I tried out this interview technique that it's not unique. You see it a lot on TV. But I thought it'd be cool. Excuse me. I thought it'd be cool to just have the girls' answers. And I always tell them to answer in such a way that we don't have to guess what the question was. Like include the question in the answer, basically. and so the person asking the question is not in there at all. They're edited out, or I just have the girls read it off a whiteboard. Do you like that style? It's kind of fun, kind of different, but I don't know. I don't have any idea.
Clem, what do you think? I'll let Clem talk before I give my answer.
Yeah.
I'll let you give an answer because I didn't completely stump on this one. I don't have the answer to this.
Well, again, being the deaf guy in the room,
Yeah.
because I know most of my stuff don't have caption. So it's been kind of a blessing and a curse because if I just hear just the girl, me personally, I don't like hearing myself talk on camera. That's just me personally.
I don't either.
So it's like I don't want to hear myself talk. I want to be just about the participants, and that's it. And I just happen to be there as the warrior or the POV camera. I wanted to
Yeah.
be where it's like I'm almost faceless. Like I could have been you, I could have been Clem, I could have been anybody could have been holding the camera.
Yeah.
So that's a good way of doing it if that's your objective. If that's your objective. The thing about having either a slate, I've done this a couple of times where I had the slate up to have the question and then have someone answer it. Um, I just want the girls whatever's more natural and normal for them because
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
today it's about them.
It is
Um,
Yeah.
about them.
yes. So sometimes having that question either up as a lower third or as a slate, I will say from a production standpoint, it takes a lot more work because you got to build a title and then pick a backdrop and all
Yeah.
this other stuff. So sometimes you be like, look, it's just only 5 seconds. Just answer the
Right.
question. Just cut to it. So again, it just depends. I would say I actually think that's actually a pretty good way of doing it. That way you
It's a
don't have
bit more free form, and it's a bit more exciting because you have maybe not 5 minutes, but 3 or 4 minutes of just the girl, and it seems very conversational because she's like, she's sitting there and she's like, the first cat fight I did was probably, and it seems just very natural. I think if the girl doesn't find that interview style weird, which is why I've stopped doing the whiteboard and now I ask the questions and I just edit myself out when I do
Actually,
it.
I'm glad you're not doing the whiteboard because we'll be too especially we too focused on the whiteboard instead of them. So it's like you said, it's natural that you ask them the questions and then they give us their thoughts and we keep it moving from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I think it's better that way.
It depends on the girl because me, I love acting and I think I'm good at it. I've been told I'm good at it, so I can look at a whiteboard, read it, and then by the time I come up and look at the camera, probably the first time and you can't tell that I've just read a whiteboard because I don't have to refer back to it. I've read it, so it really depends on the girl. But yeah, I think more often than not, if someone's reading from a whiteboard, they're not going to be very relaxed and conversational in their answer because there's no one in front of them.
right.
So
And then they're like, oh, did I forget something? And you just
yeah,
keep looking back.
true.
I'm trying to see some of our other questions. She's no longer a quote unquote actor fighter, but but it's like we could ask the Ric Flair question. Who would you come back out of retirement if you could?
Exactly. Since she's retired, these questions we're asking is of no use now.
Well, ask me them anyway. I mean, what are they? If you could, I'm curious. Maybe if I get really buff someday, I'll come back. I don't know.
Yeah, but like I said, we've enjoyed you. Like I said, seeing
Yep.
you out there. You're definitely one of our legends in our book. And
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I'm especially happy to see how the strides that you have taken on the production side.
Yep.
Because like I said, so often when talent goes into production,
It
it's
doesn't work
like
out well.
they end up getting subterfuged because either they're editing, their shooting, their lighting, their camera work, their distribution. Hey, we shot it and edited it, but we never got it out to you. The pricing. I mean, there's so many other variations and factors that it just
Yeah.
it just.
I have an all or nothing approach to almost everything I do. Like, I know that someday I'll be old and decrepit, and I don't want to do a normal job. So when I realized I was going to get into production and let this be my plan for when I'm not in front of the camera, I was like, all right, better get her done then. Better learn all the editing techniques, better get it out quickly, because I don't have any other choice. I don't want to do anything but this.
Right. Wow.
All right. let's talk about the upcoming fight that you're gonna have now. As we all know, it's 2 days away. Everybody knows it already. We don't have to say much. So Ashley and Alexa, we all know how this started, but what are your thoughts on these two? What should we the fans expect? I kind of have an idea, but what should we expect? I have kind of
Alexa is a nasty cat fighter. She
facts,
dominates. She
facts.
dominates like it's her job. I mean, leaves no room for error whatsoever if she can help it. Um, I'm allowing scissors and headlocks
I agree with that.
in this one.
I agree with you
Not
because if you're gonna,
sleepers.
yeah, I agree with you. If you're gonna allow face slapping, then it's only appropriate that you allow that at least
Right. And
balance it
yeah,
out.
exactly, yeah. Um, so I'd like to say that that gives Ashley an edge, but I also have to imagine that Alexa has learned some grappling from the fights that she's been in, even if she's not a natural grappler. I have to imagine that she's picked up on how to do, a scissors and a headlock herself. So, um, I hate to ever decide a winner ahead of time or even
No, no, no.
speculate.
I'm just asking for your what you think is going to happen. I'm not telling you to predict who's going to win. That's my job. That's what I'm
Right,
supposed to be
because you're
doing.
the producer, you have
You're
to
a
stay
producer.
neutral.
I
You
just
have
Neutral.
want,
to stay
I
neutral.
yeah. I just want expectations. I'm not
You just
telling you to
want it
pick
to be where
someone.
I can get through the 20 minutes.
That's it.
That's the
That's
objective.
it.
I can get through the 20 minutes.
I just want her to just what her expectation is. I'll figure out. I'll just go from my
From there.
opinion. I'm a little different.
I don't think anybody needs to sleep on Ashley
I agree.
because um she's one fight in now, so she's seen what it's about. She has asked to practice with me when she lands tomorrow, and I said no problem. We'll get in some rounds, you and I. Um, just she said I'm not going to slap you. I said I appreciate that. So just grappling. Just she wants to figure out how to come in strong, and
Uh,
I understand that because it can be very demoralizing if you don't start off strong.
Maurice, don't underestimate Ashley. She actually had a good match against Jess. I remember that because I actually bought that fight. Don't underestimate Ashley. She gave Jess a problem,
Now, I
so
can
don't
always
underestimate.
forever live with Tilly just being, I'm gonna be what they call the Brooklyn Brawler or the Iron Mike Sharp, or the Al Snow, be the job of be like, hey, I'm the Bill Mott, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna train you and all that. Like I would still even buy that, just to see you spar. Like
Just
I would even
see,
buy that.
the practice.
Yes, I would just even buy that.
Do
It'd
I
be
have
like,
to put
hey,
makeup on? No, I'm just kidding.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
no, no,
no.
no, 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 no.
It's just like tough enough. It's like no, no, no. There ain't no fancy lights and nothing. It's like okay, and ring work. And, and I have a few of those myself where I'm training the girls, and I have that especially for the newbies that want to come in so they get an idea of what they're walking into
I've
before.
been wanting to make one of those videos. Maybe I
Yeah,
should do it tomorrow. Why not?
yes,
Yes,
yes. So that's something
why
I
not?
Yeah.
that have as I can teach and almost like a master's class kind of thing.
Yeah, no, for real. It helps because I've had my friend Paisley, she owns RVQ, shameless plug, rvqentertainment.com, and she told me about it. And at first I was like, I'm sure none of the girls watch it. But she said, no, they do. They watch the videos, they come in, and you can tell who's watched them and who hasn't. So they're useful.
Yeah, so I mean, you ain't got to have like 9,000 of them. You just have like one or
I know.
two
I heard
Yeah.
you.
that you know that okay, especially if you got somebody that's taller than you, what type of strategies you may use. Somebody that's smaller than you, what type of strategies they use. You know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of that kind of thing. That kind of
Yeah.
thing. Oh
Counter
my,
attacks and stuff like
So
that.
yes,
Yeah.
fans, one of the things y'all need to look for strategies, endurance, and all that kind of stuff. This is how I look at these kind of matches. I, most people think that you can see who wins. No, most of these fights usually take about a few minutes in. Is whoever gets more tired that eventually ends making the
Hmm.
most mistakes. People
Hmm.
don't tend to understand how these things go.
Ashley asked me if she could kick her in the face, and I was like,
No,
"No, ma'am,
no, man. We don't want people being injured. Come on now.
no,
We
no."
all know Alexa doesn't
is she
like
trying to do
model type.
like the dude did in UFC, holding one leg and then turn
And
around, spin kick and all.
She
yeah,
said, "I have long legs. I want to use them," and I said, "Well, I can teach you some ways to do that."
Yes, but yeah,
It's very
Clinton
interesting because we
State.
got both of these ladies are tall, so it's gonna be interesting. I want to see how
Yeah.
Alexa's gonna do. I want to see if she's improved her grappling. We'll see. We'll find out.
And,
We will know. We
and
will know.
especially
Yeah.
having girls that tall would definitely,
Yep.
from a physics standpoint,
Both of
would
them are
definitely
tall.
test the room,
Yep.
your fight surface. It definitely would test because of
Yep.
physics of them
Yeah.
Yep.
on the ground and getting up, and then how far. You know, if you like 5'4" and you got this girl that's 5'10", almost 6 feet, that's an extra 6 inches
Yep.
either way on both sides,
Yep.
and it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
I learned
not
that
that
with Paris and Brooke.
yes,
Yes,
because
you
now
did.
that height was
Mhm.
Yes, you did. Because those were some tall girls too.
yes,
Now I
Wait,
have
speaking of
couches
yeah.
on both sides of the room.
Now
yeah.
Yeah.
speaking of Brooke, you have any update on Miss Brooke? Because I already asked
No,
you this some time
not
ago.
not a solid update because I haven't asked her, but I will be asking her soon because she's. I'm friends with her on Facebook, and she's been going out snowmobiling with her daughter, and she's
Uh,
out and about. She's out and about doing this and that, and a couple of fans have been like, "Really? Did she, injure her ankle?" But the thing is, I don't know much about this, but from what people have told me, there's a third degree pull. You can pull a ligament a third degree or a second degree,
yep.
and I
I
think
looked
that
this
in her
up.
case, it's second degree.
Yeah, I
Uh,
did look this up. I did
eh,
look this up on a medical thing. Since you were talking about medical stuff, yeah, the second degree, according to what I saw, was like 36 weeks, and I think she's kind of lucky she didn't get a third degree because it could have been worse.
oh
Because
yeah,
usually you get these kind of ankle ligaments. I don't know. Claus can probably tell me better. Like she's lucky she's not out for months. These
she's
things
very
kind of
lucky because
she's
she's
very
also a very
fortunate.
active chick. I mean,
Very.
she's very ballsy. This girl
Yep.
like hunts and jumps off cliffs and
Yeah.
like races snowmobiles for fun. So
Yeah.
I,
Mhm.
I'm thinking in start of February, although I don't know if I should be saying this yet before it's confirmed, but
Take your time.
Mike has inquired about a certain favorite of y'all's making a return against someone she fought in 2018, a rematch.
I,
Um,
I think I know where this is going. I just don't want to say
We'll,
it.
yeah,
we'll sidebar that.
We'll talk about that with you,
We'll
Tilly. We'll
start
talk
yeah,
there.
about that. We don't want to get.
Yeah.
Hey, you
no.
got any more questions for Miss Tenacious before we sidebar anything and end this show?
Yes, I have one more. I did want to ask about the. Let me see. I wanted to ask about. I forgot what I was going to ask about. Yeah, because I had just gotten the text. I'm like, oh Jesus. Uh, but I wanted to ask about your. Oh God, I was
He'll
going to say.
come to you.
Oh yes, yes, yes. The apparel maker. I need
Yes.
to know what is your
Yes.
apparel maker for your fights because those thongs do not rip. It's like that
Oh,
needs to be
baby.
like an unofficial sponsor of all cat fights. Like those things were built for cat fight. Like everything as a
Yep.
cat fight fan, as far as that, I need to know who
1
is.
minute.
It's
You
like
like it when they don't rip?
Yeah.
yes, because it's like
Okay.
the worst thing was to see something that rips in 2 seconds and it's like. Most real clothes that most of us got, it's not easy to rip. You know, it's like you have to. I know you have the Hollywood style where they'll put like cut marks in it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can do like what I've done a couple of times with my ladies, because I didn't have the budget to go buy new blouses just for you to rip it and be gone in 3 seconds. Like I would have stuff with like buttons in it, like snap buttons.
That's a
Like
good
see,
idea. That's hot, actually. I like
yeah.
the idea of them
So that way
busting open.
you can always reuse it, you know, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And yeah, so that's why I was like, I need to know who because that's like real. It added to the realness versus something that you looking like, I know this. Like if I took something from Walmart, I know it ain't gonna tear that. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That's a quitter. um, I buy them on Amazon and I forget the name of the brand, but I'll get it to you. And they're seamless. I don't know if that makes any difference, but they're the thongs that are intended to leave no line.
Okay.
I mean, all thongs are designed to leave no panty line, but like even the band, it doesn't have like
Mhm.
a seam on it. It's just completely flat. So I don't know if that. I mean, there has to be a seam at some point in them, obviously, but I
Right.
don't know if the fact that they have no seam along the top and the bottom of the band. Maybe that helps, although you would think that would make it easier to rip them. I don't know. I'll get the brand to you though. I'll look it up.
Yeah, because it's like I would definitely support because I'm like, that's the kind I want. I'm like, yes,
Yep. Hmm.
yes. I'm like, that's the one thing I said. If I could take from Tilly, I want whoever that apparel maker is because
They
that's
look good too.
yes, they look really good. I was like,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, if I could just, but my only thing is the colors. They have the differentiating colors, sometimes
Yeah.
with the
Mm.
Like
light,
red and blue or something.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that black and white looked beautiful on Sarai and Aubrey for their fight.
Yep.
Aubrey being so pale, I was like, you need to have the black one.
I
And then
agree.
Aubrey has Sarai has a deep tan, so I gave her the
Yep.
white because the contrast in skin
Yeah,
tones.
Hmm.
something that pops, especially for
Yeah,
ladies of color. That's the one thing I always try to get without. I want something that's gonna pop on your
pop.
Hmm.
pop
Yeah,
because even with collegiate wrestling, somebody has to wear red, somebody has to wear green
Blue.
because
Yeah.
of scoring and stuff like that.
Yep.
So usually you either have it where you both wear the same color. Like say if you have a sports bra and bike shorts, like either you both wear the same color or you both wear two contrasting colors. So sometimes if
Yeah.
you have to go back through and let's say
Yeah.
for example, the match ended in the tie and you're trying to figure out who was more dominant. If they
mm,
both have the same color, sometimes you can kind of tell who was on top, who was on mount, who was on the bottom, or who was in guard and who was
Yep.
if they
out.
got different colors.
Yeah, they have different color contrasting colors.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. Someone, a fan tonight, he wrote me and he inquired as to whether Ashley would be wearing lingerie and or thigh highs. And I was kind of surprised because no one had asked me that before. And I was like, oh shoot, did I promise this? And I didn't. But he was like, oh, that's a shame. So the plan is to start nude. Um, and he said, well, that's a shame because she looked really hot in her fight for sweet fights wearing thigh highs and lingerie. So it's got me thinking, what are you? And obviously, everyone's opinion varies, but you guys personally, do you prefer the sporty look with the sports bras and thongs, or do you prefer the more sultry lingerie look?
I'm both. I'm both directions. I can do
Okay.
sporty and I can do sultry. It don't matter to me. Either
Okay.
way.
Okay, as
I'm
long as there's tits and ass.
correct.
I
Cool.
would I would say that there's a balance.
Mm,
There's a balance, and what I say by balance is it depends on the person. Now, granted, you don't want one in the sports bar and bike shorts the other person and like that. Nah, 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 nah. I guess because the thing about lingerie, especially for me, like old school, like with the corsets or the teddies or the
mm,
bustiers, because that was like the closest thing to body armor. I mean, there's been stuff like if you go into the 50s, like the made men generation or whatever, when they used to have the ladies that would come in and fight, like the Betty Page, like when you go into the history of it with
yeah.
the whole garter belts and all that, it was almost like armor kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Heavy
to have that,
duty.
yeah, so to have that lingerie thing was kind of like, it was like you was preparing for battle because it was like it was a dual function. It was supposed to be sultry and sexy, but yet it was also supposed to be functional in a fight. And I
Mm,
think once you got to the 70s with the whole apartment wrestling scene, where everything now was bikinis and stuff, it kind of went away from that. And then
yeah.
once you get back to the 80s and 90s, that's where the whole sports bra and bike shorts, and of course with UFC. Um, I would say this: I know for newbies starting out, it kind of looks. This is just me. It kind of looks better as sports bra and bike shorts because just trying to get them comfortable to everything that goes along, and then
Yeah.
moving them into lingerie or whatever. Because sometimes it's like the shock is like, look, I wouldn't even wear this the normal fight. You see what I'm saying? Because they're thinking
Yeah.
about so many other things. And so, from a psychology standpoint, like newbies is like, look, you don't get the lingerie yet. You got to start on sports ball and bike short. I will
Yeah.
say the sports ball and bike short fight that Balor did with Queen Gia Love was probably the hottest one I've ever seen with that.
Yep.
Because usually with that, there's usually not a lot of pulling and tugging, but the way they did it with that, I was like, oh my god, they
It
just
was
made it
brilliant. It was
right.
brilliant.
Yes, and so the fact that it held up,
It held up
it
too.
tested the limit. So
Yeah.
it just depends. Like I got some stuff I've been wanting to find somebody to wear. I got some Under Armour thongs, like for lack of a better term. I want to see can it hold. They tell me, well, for swimmers and stuff, it'll be sweat proof and all this other stuff. I'm like, I got to find two ladies that can rock these and just see will it hold up, because it's like, would it hold up in a match, kind of
They
thing.
sound hot. I didn't know Under Armour made thongs. That's
Yes,
hot.
they do.
I get a special again. You got to call me. You got to call me for these things. Yes,
I'm like,
yes. You got to call me for these things.
yeah.
Any more
Yeah.
questions, Tilly, before I promote your fight?
One more, one more actually.
Go ahead.
Gosh, I thought I had none, and then I have all of these. You shouldn't have asked me. Um, do you guys like those thigh high socks? Not stockings, not like thigh high sheer, but you know the thigh high socks with the colored rings around the top that were big in the 70s or was it the 80s? Those are so
Mm,
hot to me, and I
Those
rarely see them in fights.
those are my number one trade. That is my number one blessing and curse. When
yeah.
I first started, one of my sponsors was American Apparel, which they're known for their thigh high socks.
Hmm.
Mm,
I cannot tell when I say blessing and curse, I cannot tell you how many shoots I've had with girls with the socks and they never have made print or have never made air. Because for other, it's like the girls, if they don't leave with nothing else, they want them socks. I'm like,
Yeah,
look, you cannot have the socks until I have it on the match in the shoot.
yeah,
I said because those socks, they're not cheap.
mm.
But
they're
I
not.
love the thigh high sock.
I'm
Those,
so glad. I thought I was going crazy because I
oh
assumed
no,
everybody would love them, but some fans are like, "Nah, I could take them or leave them," and I'm like,
Oh, I actually
"What?"
like them.
yes,
I like them. Don't bother
yes,
me.
because I've had the ones
Cool.
with the rings, I've had the ones with the solid colors.
Yep.
I've done, and I try to coordinate it with the colors, with depending on what the girls are wearing. I've done the whole gamut.
Hmm.
And from the fighter standpoint, if they had to choose between the socks and the thigh high, now I ain't gonna, I will admit, I am a sucker for thigh high pantyhose, so thigh high.
Same.
Yeah, same,
But I'm just because it and
same.
it's something guys ain't just gonna wear. It's just we ain't gonna wear it. But
It just adds more
socks, we wear
allure.
socks.
It adds more appeal. Adds more intrigue, more
Yes,
seduction. So more
Mm,
yes,
suspense. So
yeah,
yes.
yes,
yeah, yeah.
So
And it
yes.
frames the ass really nicely because it sits
yes,
right under.
Oh
y-
yes, ma'am.
yes.
So yes, thigh highs is a
And
yes.
just the thigh high socks. I'm like, yes, I'm a
Yes.
thigh high socks. Now in the winter, it definitely helps, especially up here. We're in the colder climate. The girls
Mm,
like it because it keeps them warm.
yep.
Now in the
Oh,
summer, it's not as practical because you can sweat real quick in them. You know.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so it just went real quick, but
Cool. Well, that was
it
my last.
that still does not change the fact them girls like, oh my god, like I
Lady,
have
yeah, go
not
ahead.
done a shoot yet what they have not asked for, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, you can't leave unless we do something in it. Like I say that, like that's like my carrot now that I use is like, look, you want this is where I need something special. You gotta come back to get me something like this. This giving you this on the front end, I done got burned. I probably have you went through more of them than anything else that I probably thongs is probably the next closest thing I probably went through.
Yeah,
But them thigh high, it don't matter because the girls be like, oh my god,
they all love them.
they never get a whole chance to hold them and use them, or be able to just go out and buy them. You just can't.
No, I bought some at Spirit Halloween, and I plan to get more next year because they're way cheaper there than at American
Mm,
Apparel, especially
mhm,
after Halloween, of course.
Yeah.
mhm.
American Apparel used to have their sales where I used to be able to get them for. I've gotten some as low as $3 a pair. They've had some,
Wow.
like I said, when it was one of my sponsors, yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah.
all those was beautiful. Those were, I still got like almost half a container of thigh highs socks just
Are
sitting
you
there.
gonna make me fight for a pair of socks,
Yes,
Claus?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Because
yes.
I give, matter of fact, for you, I would give you two. Just because I would give you two.
Oh,
I would,
okay.
I would give you two. Because I still got some. I was like, what am I going to do with these? I'm going
Mm.
to do with this. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want thank Miss Tilly McReese. Uh, before I say her little socials or let her do her socials, make sure you get tune into that fight between Ashley and Alexa. It's going to be hot. Make sure you contact her at tillymcreese.com. Sorry, Taylor McReese. Sorry,
At
at
Gmail.
gmail.com. I'm sorry. Via PayPal. People, don't leave a note. She's gonna get charged for that. So don't leave a note.
Yeah.
So $50 for that. You'll get, You'll get the BTS behind the scenes stuff. The Jitsi meet is AVA 20. I'm saying that now, so people don't ring me on that. I'm saying that now.
Yeah.
Putting that out there.
But if you
Uh,
don't sponsor, you don't get to.
yeah,
If I see
yeah,
you in there and I don't recognize your sponsorship, then I'll boot you out. So you can only do the live stream if you sponsor, and it's not too late.
yes, exactly. So that's your warning, people. So there you go. So 20 minutes straight up. She already said the rules. Check her Twitter page. It's on there. You want to do your socials, Tilly, before
Yeah,
we sign off here?
sure. They're growing by the day. I just joined OnlyFans in September. I held out for a long time because it's everybody and their mother is on there. But I'm doing it. It's fun. And of course, it's just onlyfans.com/Tilly McCrease. You can get some really
Hmm.
how do I say this, more explicit stuff on there, which of course I did in the past and have held off on, and now I'm reintroducing it only on OnlyFans. So if that's what you like to see me in, you know where
Okay.
to go. And then I also have what do I have? Facebook. Oh, my Facebook page got removed. I'm on Tilly McCrease. I'm on Instagram.com/Tilly McCrease, and I'm on Twitter, which is twitter.com/Tilly McCrease. And I also have tillytown.com, which links directly to my clips for sale page. It's easier to remember than saying clipsforsale.com/121155.
Mhm.
So that's just tillytown.com.
Ooh.
And I have tillymccrease.com, which is where you go to order a custom video if you ever feel like one.
All
Go ahead.
righty. All right. Well, we're about to wrap this up and go to the sidebar. And ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, we would like to thank you again for watching the Calls and Clem show. We like to thank
Thank
our
you.
guests again, Queen
Appreciate
Gia
you.
Love and the incomparable Miss
Tilly
Tilly Reese.
McGree.
Yeah, Tilly McReese. Yes.
Thank you,
So,
Morris, for attending.
yes. Yes.
Guys, for watching. Thank you for attending. By the way, let's just finish our social so that we can finish this show. Myself, I got Facebook, facebook.com/ClemOkufo238. My Twitter is, Clem Okufo. That's self-explanatory. Instagram, the same. And that's it pretty much now.
And of course, with me, I can always be reached by prayer. And at Calls, at Calls Web, at Calls Web on Instagram and
Oh, man. That was
yeah.
fun. Thank you guys for watching tonight's
And
show. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
next year we're going to second and
And
fourth
the fourth
Monday,
Mondays
nine
of
thirty.
every month, starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 Central Time. Our next show is January 11th, everybody.
January
January 11th. So with that being said, Claus Webb, Miss Tilly, myself, shout out to Queen Gia Love. We are out of this place. See you next year, guys. Have a good
11th.
night.